is getting to the point where if you don't understand the many reasons why Reinier is a hero you need to go for on an early account as your main celestial slash hypogen hero, if all these videos haven't helped, I don't know what is going to. The reason why going to Mythic Plus is so important is because it just, you know, increases the damage the swap target takes by 25%. And then when you get it up to plus 10, it also reduces the switched allies damage by 25%. And that solves a lot of issues that we run into with some of these newer heroes. We did it with Alsa and it worked really well. We're doing it with Soren and it's also working very well. One thing I will say, and one thing I'm actually going to start building on my account now too, if you're building a Mauler centric team, Mythic Plus and Tundra, absolutely amazing to have with Soren right now. I don't have it on my account, but we will highlight it over the course of the next week. But let's be honest, Reinier is just so amazing. He has crowd control effects, which means he does synergize with, you know, Alsa and everything like that. His season ability also gives shielding. And then also, now that we have his magic charms, he's got, well, almost the better version of the heal every 8 seconds, which is better than nothing because he doesn't really heal for anything besides that. But yeah, this is pretty solid here. You're, of course, giving healing to the ally that switches to, so that's part of what has made these newer heroes a lot easier to use right away when you first get them. You can see I've been using like different teams for different compositions and everything, but one composition that I'm just kind of stuck to is this one right here. Throwing a team that looks like this, having the Alsa here, and then we have like a kind of float spot that we can use. I've been testing some different heroes out. Scarlita is a nice other addition too because it helps keep a hero alive. I think yesterday we showed you guys using the Cascade spell with Coco is a strategy, or you can just go with something that is more damage like an Eironn. So I'll show you guys what this looks like here. We're gonna get the swap immediately. He goes to the other side, the enemy's gonna take more damage, but this gives Soren a bit more survivability here. And honestly, even putting Soren in the front now, if you do have Reinier with the season ability, can be kind of good because it does give him a shield. You see Eironn went down immediately in this combo, but you can see those walls from also being amazing, and you can see how much additional healing he's getting to keep him going. But even then, it seems like in a lot of these stages, it's not even enough at times. And it's almost like you need more crowd control than anything else. Surprisingly enough, he still buys enough time for Alsa to do what she does, and you can see we do finish out this fight right here pretty easily. We're pushing stage 570 right now. We're actually getting gated behind training manuals, which is pretty insane. But you can see he doesn't do a ton of damage. He does tank a lot of damage for this type of team. This is running an Eironn as well, so it's like the two rogue heroes are together tanking while Eironn and Alsa do their damage. But again, one thing you have to remember with this hero here is his damage isn't reflective of all the damage he's producing in the battle, because he's actually proccing a ton of Alsa damage in these battles as well. So even if on the sheet it doesn't necessarily look amazing, it can still be really good. This is the other strategy I do sometimes if I want to give him additional shielding too, because you'll notice at the beginning of the battle here, when he does be in the front row, he gets that additional shield from Reinier, and that can buy you time if you don't care about your Eironn living as long. But again, he still has a pretty good ability here to tank. When he does drop below a certain percentage, he does get that life drain, or really the heal, and he can also, of course, gain energy and all that. The big AoE right here is amazing for proccing a ton of damage on the Alsa, and as you guys can see, a lot of times this combo works very, very well. I'm really enjoying it, and if you're not doing a swap composition on your main Carolina slash Eironn team slash Eironn team, this can work out well. And to show you that, I want to show you guys what it looks like when you don't also run these combinations while still trying to take out these enemies. This one actually might be hard to try it on though, because there is an Igor. So we're going to be running heroes that we're not running in that other squad. So a couple options I like running here are putting a couple other tanky heroes right up front to absorb a lot of those hits right away. Maybe even just putting them like this and like this to make sure our Kruger also gets that shield at the beginning of the battle to give him a little more tankiness. And then we're going to swap the hero in Soren right to the back row enemies, and you'll notice this is a really good battlefield for him because of the positioning. However, you can see it does get difficult for him to stay alive if people are not hitting that swap target, because that's going to be what most of his healing is coming from. But if he can pin people in the corner, you can get much better results. I have not had many great results running like a healer on this type of team, just because positioning with Soren and a healer like Smokey can be very, very difficult, because he tends to go to the very far side of the battlefield. But as you can see, if you're going up against some of these harder waves, going with the more traditional squad will still net you like better results overall, which I'll show you right here. Let's see if this is actually an easy victory now that we just make those couple little changes. We're grouping them together. We're proccing a lot of damage. Reinier goes down immediately, but it does keep him up. Eironn might get another ultimate off. Nope, he does go down. This is just one of those really, really tough stages. And actually, you can see the more stereotypical team did kind of fail here, where usually this team does really, really well. I'll show you guys like the Arden, this type squad right here, doing something more like this. Let's see how the more traditional team plays out in the same exact scenario, where you have the Thorin tanking, you have a little bit tankier of a team. That way you can see like the comparison between the two. The nice thing with Reinier is he does provide a lot of support. The downside with Reinier is he can cause a lot of issues where he just dies really quickly. And you see, even running a more traditional squad, depending on positioning and everything, is still very difficult on a lot of these waves, because I am pushing very hard right now for where we are at. Let's try to run a little bit different of a team. Let's try maybe protecting him a little bit more. We want to get the swap back in though, because I absolutely love the swap. Question is, who do we want to swap? I think it's only the Coco and maybe the Corin. So we could try swapping the Corin out, doing something like this. The only problem with putting him in the front row is we can't also have another hero kind of tanking. We can try doing this. So he does get the shield. Brutus will take a lot of the aggro with his immunity, which should buy other enemies time they're just attacking. Alsa actually dove in right there and did not do well, and that's the downside of swapping someone to the front of the formation versus the back, is the fact that Alsa's now going to suicide in. So there's a lot of trickery that you have to do to make this type of team kind of work better. So you kind of want to put Alsa in a position where they're going to go after this target, whereas Corin can run around a lot and be really in the melee heavy thickness of it. You want your Alsa, part of this swap strategy is the Alsa is going to ult right here so that she doesn't dive into the enemy formation right away. And you can see Soren is actually chasing Igor, which is not great whatsoever. However, we're kind of in an okay spot. We're getting a stun over here, but we did lose the Alsa, and if we lose the Alsa on this type of team, we lose a lot of our damage. So this is kind of like one of the teams I've been running. Another one is kind of similar, but it is more focused on an Odie type strategy here. So a lot of times I'll actually still run the Alsa like this, but I'll throw Odie in instead of like Eironn or something like that, so you're not getting the grouping. And in reality, we could still technically swap on this one here, so that Alsa again doesn't suicide in, but this time we now have Odie that's going to put those execution marks up, which means we're going to move through these targets and kill them much faster. And of course, if you've ever had issues with Igor, Odie is your man, because Odie will just execute him no matter what, no matter how many of those tombstones are up. And you can see Soren bought a lot of time. We're still just barely missing the victory here. I think if we manually control the Odie, we might have a better time of it here. So let's do that. Let's control who Odie is going after. Either way, I want to get rid of that Coco immediately. And then after that, we're going to hope Igor doesn't move. Let's take Igor out immediately so he's not leaping around the battlefield, making also waste damage. Marilee's already low, so this is going to be a pretty quick execute up here from the Odie, and he's going to get all his energy back, and then we can work our way through. And this is why, another reason why Odie is like a must-use properly type hero when it comes to these situations, because if you let him just run automatically, you're going to have some bad results, whereas you run him manually, you get much better results. And you see he's still doing a very respectable amount of damage, technically more than Odie, even though Odie's also executing, and he's running around as a pseudo off tank as well. So let me know what you guys think. I've been having a lot of fun with the swap strategy. And it just, Reinier with these two heroes just helps so much. Yeah, you can see I'm getting a chokehold on resources right now, but Reinier is the man for these two heroes, I think, just mainly because of the swap, and it makes it so that Alsa doesn't dive bomb into the enemy formation. She instead uses her first very vulnerable ultimate to go after a very close enemy, and then you profit. So let me know what you guys think. I really love Reinier. This is why, beyond bossing, I love him and use him so much. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. If you found a really cool combo with Soren, leave a comment down below. Again, little last note here, Soren is still a hero that most players should not build, I believe, at this moment. Just continue to save your diamonds, save your rate up letters, and we'll come back to him a little bit later for a final result. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.